Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 420 Radio Drug Test. I'm your host, Alex Trebong. It's been billed as 420 Jeopardy, but I want to make it clear to Merv Griffin Enterprises that it is in no way a trademark infringement of Jeopardy or any Jeopardy-related products. It's actually a trademark infringement on Jeopardy, Family Feud, and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Let's be clear about that. The Jeopardy part you can probably figure out. We've got 6 categories that we are going to be asking trivia questions about. Texas tokers, reefer music, medical cannabis, pot and politics, sativa celebrities, and potpourri. But unlike Jeopardy, we're not competing for money, we're competing for weed. And so your questions, the easy questions, are swag and eighths, moving up to quarters, halves, ounces, 2 ounces, and the big stumper question, the quarter pounder. Now, the questions vary by their weight, and you can see that right here. 1/8 ounce questions are just true false. So you got a 50% chance, go for it. The quarter ounce questions are multiple choice A, B, C. It's going to be one of those choices. 1/2 ounce is A, B, C, D, and sometimes you got to put them in the right order. A little tougher. 1 ounce questions, you have to give me a direct answer. 2 ounce questions, there's usually 2 or more answers, a list that you have to give. And then, like I said, the quarter ounce questions are the stumper questions. Now, that's a lot like Jeopardy, except instead of playing 3 individual players, we play 3 teams. 2 teams of 3 players plus the man. So we will have Team Indica with Mike Hyde, who will be the captain of Team Indica, and Tristan Tucker, right? Yep. Tristan Tucker will be the captain of Team Sativa. They will also need 2 more people on their team, so we need 4 volunteers who want to win fabulous prizes. Right there, come on up. You're there, come on up. You're up. Who's one more, right over there. Okay, so 2 of you here, and 2 of you on the end chairs there. All right, Mike, you'd be here on this team. There you go. All right, so unlike Jeopardy, we're competing as teams, and each team alternates asking questions, but only one player gets to ask a question. So it might start with Mike. He goes and answers a question, gets it right. The next person on his team has control of the board and gets to go for a question. So one guy who's an expert can't dominate the game. If you get your question right, you get the weight. If you get your question wrong, the man gets the weight. Just like real life. In order for your team to win, you have to beat the other team, and it would be preferable if you could also beat the man. Now, that's the Family Feud aspect, is we do this in teams. And then the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire aspect is we have lifelines. An Ask the Audience lifeline, the person who's got the question can turn and ask you guys, and you can yell out whatever you think the answer is. Team answer means you can turn to the other 2 people on your team and try to get the answer. And Stump the Chumps means you pass the question to the other team, and they have to get it right, but all 3 of them get a chance to try to answer it. Now, the only other thing, we don't have daily doubles in this 420 radio. Instead, we have a type of question called Puff Puff Pass. A Puff Puff Pass question is where the one person from one team and the one person from the other team have to alternate answers until one person can't think of one. So that's kind of a challenging question. So there we go. We've got 3 pounds on the board. Are we ready to play the 420 Radio Drug Test? All right. So I flipped a coin in my mind, and Tristan will get to start first for Team Indica. Tristan, pick a category and a weight. Oh, we need a mic for you guys, too. Did we have a mic?
There's one on the
Yeah, let me get you that. Can you do that? It's up on the table. There you go. All right, so Tristan, you're up. A weight and a category.
I'll take a 1/4 ounce of sativa.
A 1/4 ounce of sativa celebs? Okay, 1/4 ounce in sativa celebs. Which of these celebrity pot-smoking scandals occurred first? Miley Cyrus's Bob Marley birthday cake, Michael Phelps' bong-smoking photo, or Fiona Apple's Texas tour bus?
C. What is C? Fiona Apple's Texas tour bus bust.
And we're not Jeopardy, so you don't have to answer in the form of a question.
Damn.
What happened first? was the Michael Phelps bong photo from 2009. I'm sorry, you've missed the question, and that means that a quarter goes to the man. Man's got a quarter ounce now, still 2 ounces, and that passes on to Mike's team. Mike, you have control of the board for Team Sativa.
Let's do a half ounce of indica.
Half Texas Tokers, reefer music, medical cannabis, pot and politics, sativa celebs, or potpourri.
Let's do Texas Tokers.
Texas Tokers for a half. Which 8-term incumbent Texas politician ran anti-pot ads against a pro-pot challenger and lost his primary in 2012? Was it Glenn Lewis, Sylvester Reyes, Charlie Gonzalez, or Chris Bell?
let's stump the chump.
Aha! All right, stump the chumps. Let's take that off the board for your team, Sativa. All three of you from Team Indica get a chance to answer the question, which once again is, which of those 4 men lost his 8-term incumbency by running anti-pot ads? A. I'm sorry, the answer is B. Sylvester Reyes lost to Beto O'Rourke. That means, once again, the man gets that half. Texas Tokers for a half goes to the man. But we go back to the Team Indica. Tristan, the next person on your team has the board. And tell us your name, please.
Matthew.
Matthew.
Medical cannabis, 8th.
Medical cannabis for an 8th. Which has more state-registered medical marijuana patients, Michigan or California?
California.
Trick question, California does not have a state registry. Michigan does have 135,267 patients as of April 2013. Unfortunately, that 8th goes to the man, who's now up to 7/8 of an ounce. We go back to Mike's team, next person on your team, and your name, please.
Audie?
Audie, go ahead and pick.
We'll do pot in politics for a quarter, please.
Pot in politics for a quarter. Which of these states has the lowest threshold for a marijuana possession felony? Florida, Oklahoma, or Idaho? In other words, the least amount of weed that will get you a felony.
I'm going to go with Oklahoma.
Sorry, that's Florida. 20 grams, 3/4 of an ounce is a felony, which forfeits your right to vote for life. Boy. Pot in politics for a quarter. It's a tough board. Maybe start with some swag.
Potpourri, swag. Oh, Mike.
Mike, all right. Potpourri for swag. True or false? The dude abides.
False.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's true. The dude does abide. Oh, no. That's more for the man on the swag. Pass back to the other team. And your name, please?
I'm Zach.
Zach?
Yeah, let's go with Texas Toker swag.
Texas Tokers for swag. True or false? Joints are bigger in Texas.
True.
That is true. Everything is bigger in Texas. Duh. That's a swag for Team Sativa. You now have an 1/8 ounce, and you maintain control of the board. Mike, you're up.
Let's do a swag sativa celebs.
Swag and Sativa celebs. True or false? Willie Nelson once smoked a joint on the roof of the White House.
True.
That is true. During the Carter presidency in September 1980 with Carter's son Chip. So you win the swag and Sativa celebs, and you still have control of the board. Oh, wait a minute. You guys are indica. And I put the wrong team down for that other one, so let me fix that. No, wait, I had it right. Sativa's the one closest to me. My apologies. I had a safety meeting earlier. You have the board.
All right, we'll go with reefer music swag.
Reefer music for swag. Which instrument is stonier, a sitar or an accordion?
A sitar.
Well, a sitar, obviously. All right, so we've got another 8. They're collecting all the swag. You're up.
All right, let's go with 8th of Texas Tokers.
8th of Texas Tokers. Which population is larger, Texans or annual adult pot smokers in America?
say Texans.
Sorry, there's more tokers than Texans.
Well, that's still good.
All right, so that one goes to the man, and that turns us over to the other team. Team Indica, you have the board.
Can we do swag for medical cannabis?
Medical cannabis for swag. True or false? According to the federal government, marijuana has no recognized medical value in the United States.
True.
That is true, despite 22 states and DC recognizing medical value. That's swag for Team Indica. You're on the board.
Swag for Pond Politics.
On politics for swag. True or false? The draft versions of the Constitution and Declaration of Independence were written on hemp paper.
True.
That is true. The final copies in the National Archives are on parchment, but hemp paper was used for making the drafts. So once again, pot and politics, you win the swag. And you have the board.
Sativa Celebs 8.
Sativa Celebs for an 8th. Which one is older, Cheech or Chong?
Chong.
That's right, Tommy Chong is older. He's 1 year younger than marijuana prohibition. You win Sativa Celebs for the 8th with Team Indica, and you still have the board.
We do pot politics for an 8th.
Pot and politics for an 8th. True or false? African Americans are more likely to have smoked pot than Caucasians.
False.
False. 53% of white people have never smoked pot, while 59% of black people have never smoked pot. However, black people are 4 to 7 times more likely to be arrested for smoking pot. So, you get potpourri. I'm sorry, yeah, potpourri for an 8th, was that? No, pot and politics, excuse me. You get the indica, and you have the board.
Potpourri for an 8.
Potpourri for an 8th. Oh wait, that was the one you did. I'm sorry. Once again. You got it. There we go. Put that back to Team Indica, and again, you have the board.
Pot and Politics for an 8.
Pot and politics for an 8th. Any citizen, true or false, any citizen of the United States can start a petition to get a marijuana legalization initiative on his or her state ballot.
False.
False. Less than half of the states in America do not allow direct citizen democracy. Indica gets the 8th. And you have the board.
Sativa Celebs half.
Sativa Celebs for a half. Which of these pop divas has not recently advocated for marijuana? Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Rihanna, or Melissa Etheridge? Not advocated for marijuana.
D.
I'm sorry, it's Katy Perry. Gaga and Rihanna are well known for smoking off stage and on, and Melissa Etheridge is a high-profile supporter of medical marijuana. Sativa Celebs for a half goes to the man, and the board goes to Team Sativa.
Let's go with half Reefer Music.
Reefer Music for a half. Put these famous marijuana songs in chronological order from the oldest to the newest. Gin and Juice by Snoop Dogg, Don't Bogart Me, Don't Bogart That Joint by Fraternity of Man, Mary Jane by Rick James, and Sweet Leaf by Black Sabbath. Which one was the earliest to the latest?
C. Then D. Then B, then A.
C, D, B, A. Oh, I'm sorry, Don't Bogart Me is the oldest of the tunes, but D, C, Mary Jane 78, and Gin and Juice 1994. Reefer Music for a half goes to the man, and the board goes back to Team Indica.
Can we get pot and politics, the half?
Half ounce of pot and politics. Which of these prohibitions occurred first? The 18th Amendment prohibiting alcohol, the Marijuana Tax Act prohibiting cannabis, the Harrison Tax Act prohibiting opium, and the Controlled Substance Act prohibiting all illicit drugs. Which one was the first?
C.
The answer C, Harrison Act, is correct. 1915, opium was first prohibited, alcohol 1920, cannabis 1937, all drugs 1973. That half ounce goes to Team Indica, and you still have the board.
Can I get a quarter for medical cannabis?
Medical cannabis for a quarter. Which one of these conditions has not been shown to be treatable with medical marijuana? Multiple sclerosis, Crohn's disease, or boogie fever?
Boogie fever.
That's right, boogie fever, one of the only conditions marijuana is known to exacerbate. That's a quarter for Team Indica. You have the board.
Do a quarter, no, an eighth for reefer music.
Reefer music for an eighth. True or false, the Chicago song 25 or 6 to 4 is a reference to 420 before 420 became popular.
False.
That's right, it's false. It refers to the time 25 or 26 minutes before 4 in the morning. But you can smoke pot then if you like. So, reefer music for an eighth goes to Team Indica, and you still have the board.
We get potpourri for a quarter.
Potpourri for a quarter. Which form of marijuana reform has the highest registered public opinion poll support nationwide? Legalization, medical marijuana, or decriminalization?
Yeah, B.
B, medical marijuana, 88% support nationwide, 84% on decrim, 58% for legalization. You win the quarter in potpourri. Team Indica, you're still with it.
Can I get a quarter for reefer music?
Reefer music for a quarter. Which one of these 1960s pop icons recorded an anti-marijuana public service ad? Was it Jim Morrison, Sonny Bono, or Neil Sedaka?
Neil Sedaka.
I'm sorry, it's Sonny Bono, and it's hilarious. All right, so that quarter ounce goes to the man, but Team Sativa now has the board.
All right. Texas tokers for a quarter.
Texas tokers for a quarter. Which Texas politician ran for the Republican nomination for President of the United States calling for an end to marijuana prohibition? George W. Bush, Ron Paul, or Rick Perry?
Let me think about that one. It's so hard. B, please.
Ron Paul is correct. And you get the quarter. And you still control the board.
Let's go half of medical cannabis.
For a half, medical cannabis. Which one of these medical cannabis states allows the most mature flowering plants to be grown per patient? Vermont, Oregon, Michigan, or New Mexico?
I'm going to say Oregon.
I'm sorry, it's Michigan, 12 plants. Oregon allows you 24, but only 6 of them can be mature. So that goes to the man, medical cannabis for a half, and Team Indica has the board. Now it's getting tough.
Let me get potpourri for a half.
Potpourri for a half. Place these countries in order from the largest prison population to the smallest prison population. And you still have lifelines, by the way.
B, C, D, A.
B, C, D, A. B, D, C, A. Close. Close. But keep in mind, China has 1.3 billion people, and India has 1 billion. And we still have more prisoners than they do.
The state of Louisiana has more.
Yeah, the state of Louisiana, exactly. So that was potpourri for a half. We have to give that to the man. Now, as the questions get tough here in the upper levels, remember you still have Ask the Audience Team Answer, and Indica still has Stump the Chumps. Sativa, you're on the board.
Let's do medical cannabis, quarter pound.
Medical cannabis, quarter pound. Cannabis was listed in the U.S. Pharmacopoeia as a medicine until 1941. Within 5 years, for how many years was cannabis officially considered a medicine and listed in that book?
Ask the audience.
Ask the audience. Anybody want to hazard? So yell out some guesses as to how many years you think medical marijuana, medical cannabis was legal in America up until 1941.
5 years.
80 years.
61. 61.
This is not.
And remember, the key is listed in the book as a medicine. All right, we need an answer.
21 years. 80. 0.
Let's go with 80.
Answer is 80. 91 years. From 1850 to 1941, we'd have taken 86 to 96. Quarter pound, medical cannabis going to the man. Team Indica on the board.
Pot and politics for a quarter pound.
Pot and politics for a quarter pound. This Carter administration official was the advisor on drug policy who was outed as using cocaine at a normal party in the late 1970s. Name him.
We're going to ask the audience on this one.
Ask the audience.
Does anybody know?
Anybody who was born before the 80s?
Anybody who's
Yell him out again.
Hamilton, Georgia. Hamilton, Georgia.
What? Larry, I can't hear you.
Hamilton, Georgia.
What he said.
Peter Bourne is correct. Team Indica gets a quarter pound in pot and politics. And you still have the board.
Let me get an ounce with Texas Toke.
Texas Tokers for an ounce. This Texas firebrand had a hit country western song with "They Ain't Making Jews Like Jesus Anymore" and picked up 12.6% of the vote as an independent candidate for Texas governor. Who is he? And you still have lifelines.
What were the other lifelines?
You still have Team Answer and Stump the Chumps.
Kinky Freeman?
That's right, it's Kinky Friedman. Good thing we got that one right. And that's for Team Indica. You still have the board.
Can't get the quarter pound Sativa Celeb.
Sativa Celebs for a quarter pound. This famous 1930s band leader sang about a cast of characters in Harlem with nicknames for their drug use. He later sang his most famous song about a moocher in the 1980 movie The Blues Brothers. Name him. And your team still has a Team Answer and Stump the Chumps. Team Answer? Stump the Chumps. All right. Team Indica, you can, or Team Sativa, the three of you can all collaborate on this. Who was that band leader?
God, I don't have a clue on this one. I'm going to go with Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg is incorrect. Folks, here's a story about Minnie the Moonshine. Cab, the Heidi-Ho Man Calloway was the man's name.
Oh, yeah. That guy.
4 ounce Sativa Celebs goes to the man. And we lose the Stump the Chumps. Team, oh, you didn't have it. Oh, you had the Stump. Right, all right, so Team Indica still has the board.
Can I get an ounce of pot and politics?
Ounce of pot and politics. Who is the current president of the U.S. Senate who ushered in mandatory minimum sentencing in the 1980s and wrote the bill creating the Drug Czar's office?
He's the current president?
Current president of the U.S. Senate.
So Biden.
Joe Biden is correct. The vice president is the president of the Senate. When he was a senator, he got mandatory minimums and the Drug Czar's office created. So, pot and politics for an ounce goes to Team Indica, and you still have the board.
Let me get an ounce of potpourri.
An ounce of potpourri. The puff puff pass question, ladies and gentlemen. Each contestant must take turns and name a pot-themed movie without repeating one until one contestant cannot answer it in 3 seconds. Team Indica, go. Pot movie. 1, 2, 3.
Friday.
No, other team. Pass the other team. They have to answer. Pot movie. 1.
Cheech and Chong, Up in Smoke.
Up in Smoke. Next team.
Cheech and Chong's next movie.
Cheech and Chong's next movie. Next team.
Cheech and Chong, things are tough all over.
All right. Next team.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
There we go. Next team.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
There we go. Next team.
The Reefer Man.
The Reefer Man. I'm sorry, we don't have the Reefer Man in our list, but here's something that you could have answered. You got some of these as well. Big Lebowski, Pineapple Express. All right, so who was the last one that got the correct answer? Team Sativa? All right, Team Sativa, you win that puff puff pass of an ounce, and you have the board.
These will go big.
We'll do Reefer Music for an ounce.
Reefer Music for an ounce. While perhaps best known for Hello Dolly and What a Wonderful World, this jazz trumpeter was also one of the first American celebrities to openly celebrate marijuana use. Name him.
Is that Mr. Louis Armstrong?
That's correct. Louis Satchmo Armstrong. You win the ounce for Team Sativa. And you have the board.
We'll go with Texas Tokers for 2 ounces.
Texas Tokers for 2 ounces. Willie Nelson is a living Texas legend who has been a longtime supporter of NORML. Name 2 places in Texas where he has been arrested for marijuana.
East Texas and West Texas.
Need a more specific. Cities, please. Thank you for the correction. I'll make that say cities on the next version.
We'll go with Abilene and Austin.
Abilene and Austin. 1974, Dallas, 1994, Waco, and 2010 in Sierra Blanca. Also 2006 in St. Martin Parish, Louisiana, while he was driving on his way to former Texas Governor Ann Richards' funeral. All right, so Sativa, 2 ounces. 2 ounces, excuse me, goes to, Texas Tokers, I'm sorry, Texas Tokers goes to the man.
Let me get an ounce of Sativa Celebs.
Ounce of Sativa Celebs. This daily pot smoker and host of Cosmos was a genius. He was literally a rocket scientist and was tasked with creating a message in a bottle for the Voyager spacecraft to tell alien civilizations about the human race and Earth. Name him.
Absentee.
Team answer.
Carl Sagan.
That's right, Carl Sagan, host of PBS series Cosmos, because when you want to talk to aliens, you ask the pot smoker. All right, that's Team Indica. And you got the Sativa Celebs, and you got your team answer, and you still have the board.
You get 2 ounces of pot and politics.
2 ounces of pot and politics. We have evidence that 4 U.S. presidents since World War II have smoked marijuana. Name them.
Bush, Clinton, Obama, and Carter.
Oh, I'm sorry. John F. Kennedy was the one you were looking for. Bill Clinton famously did inhale. George W. Bush, actually, his biographer's name was Douglas Weed, believe it or not, W-E-A-D. And he told his biographer, I never answered the marijuana questions because I wouldn't want some little kid doing what I tried. And then Barack Obama, I inhaled frequently. That was the point. Pot and politics for 2 ounces goes to the man.
Let's do 2 ounces medical cannabis.
2 ounces of medical cannabis. Marijuana contains many cannabinoids. Name 5 of them by acronyms or full names.
THC, CBD, CBN, CBG, and THCA.
That's right. THCA is one of them. I don't have it on this list, but you are right. THCA is one of them. Here's some of the others. CBGB is not a cannabinoid. It's a punk club. All right, so medical cannabis, 2 ounces goes to Team Sativa, and you have the board. Sorry?
Yeah, to the right.
Oh, sorry.
Safety meeting was too long.
Long safety meeting. Medical cannabis, yeah, really. Sativa, there you go, and you have the board.
Let's do Sativa Celebs, 2 ounces.
Sativa Celebs for 2 ounces. The HBO drama True Detective stars one actor who was once arrested by the DEA for planting hemp seeds, and another actor whose breakout role was in the stoner flick Dazed and Confused. Name them. You do still have a team answer.
Team answer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's totally a call.
Is it Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey?
That's right. Woody Harrelson arrested for planting hemp seeds. Matthew McConaughey Dazed and Confused. 2 ounces in Sativa Celebs goes to Team Sativa, who's quickly making a comeback at 6 5/8 ounces against Indica's 8 3/4.
Is ounce for medical still available?
It still is.
Let's do that.
1 ounce of medical. This state is the only medical marijuana state where doctors must register in order to recommend to patients. Name it. Although I don't think this is true anymore. So pretend it's a year ago. Was the only state.
Is that state California?
I'm sorry, New Jersey, the no garden state. All right, so that was the medical cannabis for 1 ounce going to the man, and Team Indica has the board.
2 ounces for potpourri.
Potpourri, 2 ounces. There were 11 states that decriminalized marijuana possession in the 1970s. Name 4.
California, Colorado, Seattle,
Washington.
and New Jersey.
All right, we've got California was one of them, but the rest are listed there. Oregon, Alaska, Nebraska, Minnesota, Mississippi, North Carolina, New York, Ohio, Maine, and, well, Colorado you got as well. So 2 out of 4. But that still means weed for the man. 3 questions left.
Let's go with 1/4 pound of Texas Tokers.
Texas Tokers for 1/4 pound. This 5-time NFL Pro Bowler won 2 Super Bowls with the Cowboys in the 1990s before becoming the president of Texas Normal in the 2000s. Name him.
I don't know, unfortunately.
That was Mark Stepnoski, whose high school rescinded his Athletic Hall of Fame nomination for his support of marijuana legalization. So, Texas Tokers goes to the man. Team Indica on the board. 2 questions left, potpourri and 3 questions. We've got reefer music for 2 1/4, and then we got potpourri for 1/4.
Let's do reefer music for the 1/4.
Reefer music for 1/4. Besides being famous musicians who smoke weed, what do country's Willie Nelson, rap's Snoop Dogg, alternatives Fiona Apple, metal's Chris Barnes, and hip-hop's Nelly all have in common? They all smoke weed, we know that, but what else do they have in common?
They've all been arrested.
Very close. Being busted for weed at the Sierra Blanca, Texas Border Patrol checkpoint. We'll give that to you for being arrested. Okay. There we go. And that was 1/4 pound for Team Indica. And you have the board.
We get the 2 ounces and Reefer Music.
Reefer Music for 2 ounces. Bob Marley is known as the father of reggae. He's also the father to 11 children, many of whom are established musical artists in their own right. Name 3 Marleys.
What is this, a group answer now?
Yeah, no grouping, no grouping.
Damian Marley, Stephen Marley, and Bob Jr.
Robbie, Bob Jr., Stephen, and Ziggy. There you go. There's also Sharon, Sadea, Rohan, Karen, Stephanie, Julian, Kaimani, and Damien. 2 ounces for Team Indica. And the last question, quarter pound in potpourri. He was the first American arrested for marijuana possession under federal prohibition. Who was he? All right.
John Smith.
John Smith. Samuel Caldwell, busted for 2 joints in 1937, sentenced to 5 years of hard labor, died of stomach cancer in Leavenworth. So that goes to the man, and that means all of the weed is off the board, and our winner, well, is the man with 26 and 5/8. But our top finishing team, Team Indica with